Hello there you guys, welcome to one of my videos. This is your Norwich City versus Manchester United preview. It's at Carrow Road, it's Saturday, 5:30 kick-off. Now the last time Manchester United played Norwich was in the FA Cup last year. Manchester United won 2-1 after extra time. Now I'm expecting Manchester United to win this game comfortably because Norwich are a very poor team. Norwich are bottom of the league. Norwich will be going down this season. Norwich lost their last game to Tottenham 3-0. The Norwich manager is Dean Smith. When Norwich appointed Dean Smith in, he signed a 2.5-year contract. Dean Smith was sacked from Aston Villa earlier on in the season. Before Dean Smith, Norwich had Daniel Farke. Norwich ended up sacking him. Now I do know quite a few of the players that Norwich have got. Norwich have got Teemu Pukki. Now he's definitely one of their key players. Norwich have also got Adam Idah. They've also got Josh Sargent. I think they got Josh Sargent last summer. Norwich have also got Rashika. Rashika is out with injury at the moment. They've also got Norman. He's out with injury at the moment. Zimmerman. He's out with injury. Norwich have also got Billy Gilmore. They've got Grant Hanley. They've got Todd Cantwell. I do like Todd Cantwell. He's definitely one of Norwich's key players. They've also got Max Aarons, who I highly rate. Max Aarons is a fullback. Manchester United were linked with Max Aarons a long time ago. Norwich have also got Brandon Williams. He's on loan at Norwich from Manchester United. Norwich have also got Kabak. One of Norwich's goalkeepers is Tim Krul. Billy Gilmore, did I mention him? They've got him. Billy Gilmore was at Chelsea before. So there you go. They are quite a few players that Norwich have got. Manchester United are coming into this game on the back of a 1-1 draw against Young Boys in the Champions League group stage. It was Manchester United's final game of the group. Obviously it was a meaningless game because Manchester United are already into the last 16 of the Champions League. Ralph Rangnick heavily rotated against Young Boys recently. Manchester United won the last league game against Crystal Palace 1-0 thanks to a stunning goal from Fred late on. This game against Norwich will be Ralph Rangnick's third game in charge in all competitions, and it will be his second Premier League game in charge. Ralph Rangnick is Manchester United's interim manager until the end of the season. Then after that, Rangnick will continue in a consultancy role for a further 2 years. If Rangnick does a good job as the interim manager, there's a chance that he will get the job on a permanent basis. Rangnick has been given a £100 million transfer budget for January. You can get quite a few players out of that. Rangnick wants Amadou Haidara at Manchester United. Revert back to the other week. The Manchester Evening News said that Rangnick wants a Timo Werner reunion at Man United. Manchester United have recently expressed an interest in Rudiger, and I'm hearing now that Manchester United are interested in Frankie de Jong. I think he's at Barcelona. Before Manchester United, Ralph Rangnick was the head of sports and development at Lokomotiv Moscow. Manchester United have got some injuries. Bissaka is the most recent player to get an injury. Bissaka came off injured at the end of the game against Young Boys. So he could be a doubt for this game against Norwich. Bissaka was actually poor against Young Boys recently. I thought his positioning was poor, and he was partly to blame for the Young Boys equaliser because he didn't react fast enough to Donny van der Beek's pass. Rafael Varane, he's out with a hamstring injury. He's been out for quite a while now. Martial's out injured. He picked up an injury not so long ago. Pogba, he's out with a thigh injury. Pogba's out for the rest of the year with this thigh injury. And Edison Cavani, he's still out with injury. Manchester United's next league game after Norwich is Brentford. Manchester United have got winnable games coming up. I can assure that Manchester United will get a permanent manager at the end of the season. There's been quite a few names linked with a permanent role at Man United. Erik ten Hag has been linked. Now, Edwin van der Sar recently spoke out on Manchester United's interest in Erik ten Hag. Edwin van der Sar believes Ajax may lose Erik ten Hag in the summer. Edwin van der Sar expects a Man United role in the future. I'd love to see Edwin van der Sar come back to Manchester United. Edwin van der Sar is a former Man United goalkeeper. He was a goalkeeper for Manchester United for 6 years. And he won 4 Premier League titles. He won the League Cup, the Community Shield and the Champions League. Edwin van der Sar is a CEO at Ajax. He's worked as a CEO at Ajax since 2016. Pochettino, he's been mentioned a lot. Revert back to earlier on in the season, Pochettino came out and said a few times that he's happy at PSG, and it did mention that he won't let the Man United rumours distract him. Revert back to earlier on in the season, it said PSG rejected Manchester United's approach to appoint Mauricio Pochettino. But reports were circulating out saying that Pochettino is interested in the Manchester United job. And the Manchester Evening News came out and said that Man United are confident of appointing Mauricio Pochettino as the next permanent manager. And it said Manchester United agreed to pay the 10 million compensation fee for Pochettino. Revert back to when Manchester United sacked Jose Mourinho. Manchester United should have got Pochettino then, but the club decided to go with Solskjaer instead. He's a good manager, Pochettino, even though he's hardly won anything. I think he has won a French Cup at PSG. He's proven in the Premier League as well, because before Pochettino managed Tottenham, he endured 5.5 years at Tottenham. Revert back to 2018, Pochettino guided Tottenham to their first ever Champions League final. And at one point he almost won the Premier League when he was Tottenham manager. He endured 5.5 years at Tottenham, didn't he? And before Pochettino managed Southampton, he only enjoyed a short tenure with them, but he still managed to guide Southampton to their highest ever finish in the Premier League era. Revert back to the other week. Roberto Mancini was mentioned, like I updated you on. It did say from the Metro that Manchester United consider hiring Roberto Mancini instead of Mauricio Pochettino. But recently it said that Roberto Mancini denied becoming Manchester United's next permanent manager. And revert back to earlier on this season, Brendan Rodgers was also mentioned, but I initially disregarded Brendan Rodgers because Brendan Rodgers dismissed links to the Manchester United job. Rodgers came out and said that I'm proud to be at Leicester, but at one point it did say that Rodgers was house hunting in Cheshire, and reflecting on that stirred some suggestions up. And at that point it said Rodgers was the favourite to replace Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. Over 2 weeks ago, Manchester United sacked Ole Gunnar Solskjaer following the 4-1 defeat to Watford. And of course, after Solskjaer got officially sacked, Solskjaer did a farewell interview, and he got emotional in that farewell interview, which was obviously understandable, because obviously Solskjaer adores the club, and Solskjaer was part of the club for a long time. He was Manchester United manager for almost 3 years, and he enjoyed 11 years as a player for Man United. So that's almost 14 years in total. Despite Man United sacking Solskjaer over 2 weeks ago, all Manchester United fans still adore Solskjaer, reflecting on what he did for the club. There's still United fans that are chanting his name. But Manchester United certainly made the right decision sacking him, because Solskjaer couldn't take the team any further. I don't think they really wanted to sack him, but there was left with no choice in the end but to sack him. Manchester United paid Solskjaer around 7.5 million to sack him, because revert back to last summer, Solskjaer signed a 3-year contract with an option of a further year, and Manchester United should have never give Solskjaer that contract, because we all knew for a long time that he wasn't the long-term manager for Man United. Solskjaer has no proven pedigree as a manager. You know, the clubs he's managed in his managerial career so far, obviously managed Man United's reserve team for a couple of years, then obviously managed Cardiff, enjoyed a very short tenure at Cardiff. His record at Cardiff was very, very bad. You know, the reason he got sacked from Cardiff is because he got them relegated. You know, Solskjaer then enjoyed 2 spells with Mulder. He won a few Norwegian titles with Mulder, but they're not a big club. And of course, Solskjaer managed Manchester United's senior squad. But reflecting now on he was Man United manager, he did gain some experience and he learnt a few different things on the job. But there's still plenty of things Ollie's got to learn. You know, Ollie had a proven pedigree when he was a Man United player because he won a lot of trophies as a Man United player, didn't he? And his most iconic moment as a player was when he scored the winning goal in the Champions League final at the Nou Camp back in 1999. You know, Solskjaer won the club the treble. And that's obviously the club's greatest achievement. But revert back to the last few months of Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's managerial tenure. You know, the performances were very, very poor and the results were very, very bad as well. And it was plainly obvious that obviously the players were not playing for Solskjaer. But reflecting on the poor performances, you know, not all of the blame stemmed from Solskjaer. Yes, Solskjaer was accountable for certain things because his tactics and his team selections were questioned a lot, but there was also players that had to take responsibility for those poor performances as well. You know, Solskjaer did not win a trophy as Manchester United manager, and I said, you know, he wasn't capable of winning trophies as a manager. Manchester United have not won anything since 2017. That's over 4 years ago now, and that's nowhere near good enough to our standards. I'm hoping Ralph Rangnick, you know, can win a trophy at Manchester United. You know, when Solskjaer was Man United manager, you know, this season was his 3rd full season. And I did say at the start of this season that this season was going to be massive for him. You know, I said he had big expectations to exceed, and quite clearly the expectations were far too high for him to exceed as Man United manager. Plus the pressure was on him going on into the season, because revert back to last summer, Manchester United enjoyed a very good summer transfer window. You know, Man United made 4 signings. 3 of the 4 signings were major signings, and Man United last summer spent around £141 million. Plus, revert back to last summer, when Solskjaer was Man United manager, he received very strong backing from the board. You know, the Glazers backed him, Ed Woodward backed him. Ed Woodward's leaving Man United at the end of the year, because revert back to April, it got announced that Ed Woodward will be leaving. That's when that European Super League came into the equation. But earlier on this season, it actually said that Ed Woodward was in talks to stay at Manchester United under a new role. You know, Ed Woodward has had a 16-year association with the club. John Murtaugh, director of football, also backed Ollie, and Darren Fletcher backed him. But Ollie knew when he got appointed in as Man United manager that it was going to be a massive job. Not only a massive job, a difficult job as well, despite him knowing the club through thick and thin, because Solskjaer was managing one of the biggest clubs in the world. You know, Solskjaer did get appointed in December 2018 to replace Mourinho. Solskjaer was the interim manager in his first 3 months, did well as the interim manager, so the club decided to give him the job on a permanent basis back in March 2019. And then obviously when he got the job on a permanent basis, that's when it all went wrong. You know, Manchester United spent over £400 million under Solskjaer. And Solskjaer signed like 14 players when he was Man United manager. And Solskjaer enjoyed like 5 transfer windows when he was Man United manager. Let's also put into the equation that Solskjaer did get rid of a lot of players when he was Man United manager. You know, he loaned players out and he got rid of a lot of players permanently. I did like the way Solskjaer developed the youth when he was Man United manager. You know, in his first full season as Man United manager, you know, got us to 3 semi-finals and a third place finish. Then obviously in his second full season, you know, he got us to the Carabao Cup semi-final, the FA Cup quarter-final, the Europa League final. You know, that was his first major final when he was Man United manager, but unfortunately he didn't win it. And last season got us a second place finish. And when Manchester United had Solskjaer, Manchester United went 29 games unbeaten away from home in the Premier League. So there you go. Solskjaer was the 4th permanent manager to be sacked since Ferguson, because since Ferguson, you know, Manchester United sacked David Moyes, Louis van Gaal, Jose Mourinho, and of course Solskjaer. Manchester United are going to offload players next year. I think Martial is definitely going next year, because Martial doesn't really get in the team, does he? The last game Martial played was the 2-0 win against Villarreal. He started on the left-hand side in that game. Like I said earlier on, Martial recently picked up an injury. I reckon that Martial's only enjoyed one good season at Man United. That was his debut season under Louis van Gaal. Manchester United got Martial from Monaco. We got Martial in a deal worth 58 million, with add-ons included. Martial's been a Manchester United player for around 7 years now. He's got 3 years left on his contract at Man United. Cavani, I think he's leaving next year. I heard that he's interested in making a move to Barcelona. Well, Barcelona are keen on signing Cavani in January, only for a modest price. Cavani's contract at Man United expires next summer. Revert back to earlier on in the year. Cavani signed the 1-year contract extension. Manchester United got Cavani on a free transfer from PSG. You know, this season is his second full season at Man United. He's got a good pedigree behind him, Cavani, as a player, because revert back to when he was at PSG, he won a lot of trophies, and he was also a long-serving player when he was at PSG. Jesse Lingard, I think he's also leaving the football club next year. Lingard did start against Young Boys recently. That was only his second start though this season. Lingard was poor against Young Boys. I'm hearing that Newcastle have been interested in Lingard. Revert back to earlier on in the season, it said West Ham want to re-sign Lingard. Well, at the second half of last season, Lingard enjoyed a 4-month loan spell with West Ham and he made an impact. And I heard as well that Lingard wants to go abroad. The BBC said earlier on this season though that Lingard's future at Man United is in doubt after talks over a new contract collapse. Lingard's contract at Man United expires next summer. If we sell him in January, I reckon we can get around £10 million for him. Juan Mata, I think he's also going next year. Mata played against Young Boys recently, thought he was quite poor. You know, he was very slow every time he got the ball. He did have a chance in the game which he should have really converted. Juan Mata doesn't really get in Man United's team. He has lost that yard of pace in his age, you know, but I still think he's had a good career at Man United. He's been at Manchester United for 8 years now as Juan Mata. Long time. You know, Manchester United got Juan Mata from Chelsea back in 2014 for around 40 million. Brought him in under the David Moyes era. Van der Beek could leave next year. If Van der Beek gets his opportunities he's been demanding under Rangnick, then I think that will persuade him to stay. But revert back to when we had Solskjaer, Van der Beek got nowhere near enough opportunities. And reflecting on that, Van der Beek was frustrated. Van der Beek started yesterday night against Young Boys. He was in an unfamiliar role. He was the holding midfielder. He had a good game, apart from that poor pass he made that led to the Young Boys' equaliser. Did you know that Van der Beek's only scored 2 goals for the club and he's been a Manchester United player for over a year and a half? Manchester United got Van der Beek for 40 million with add-ons included. He's got a contract with Man United till 2025. There's an option of a further year. Van der Beek's versatile. He can play in 3 different roles. Nemanja Matic, I think there's a good chance that he'll leave as well next year. He isn't one of our first choice midfielders, but despite that, he still seems to get his opportunities. And surprisingly enough, he's been ahead of Van der Beek in our midfield. Matic is the only predominant centre defensive mid we've got. As you all know, yesterday night Matic started. He started as a centre half. Surprisingly. Matic wasn't that good against Young Boys. I thought his passing was too wayward. Gave the ball away too many times, didn't he? I can't see us putting him there again. Matic has been at Manchester United for around 5 years now, is it? Man United got Matic from Chelsea back in 2017 for 40 million. Pogba, good chance he'll leave next year. If he leaves, he'll probably leave next summer. I can't see him leaving in January, midway through the season. It makes sense to sell him in January so we could cash in for him. Because if he goes next summer, we won't be cashing in for him because his contract expires next summer. Revert back to the start of the season, Pogba rejected a new Man United contract offer. Pogba's still out with his thigh injury. He's out until next year, is Pogba. Pogba got the thigh injury in France training earlier on this season. He's been a big miss though for Man United because revert back towards the start of the season when he was fit, he did well. Pogba's got 7 assists so far in the league this season. Revert back towards the end of last season, Pogba produced good performances for Man United as well. But at one point last season, he was out with a thigh injury for a while and he has sustained some ankle injuries at Man United. Pogba's our most expensive signing at the moment because Man United did pay £89 million for him. Our second choice fullbacks could be leaving next year. That's Telles and Delors. Because Telles and Delors only seem to play when obviously Luke Shaw's not available and when Bissaka's not available. Prior to the Young Boys game yesterday night though, Telles started our last 4 games. That's only because Luke Shaw was out with a concussion. To Telles' credit though, he did very, very well. And I said he was undroppable, didn't I? And as for Delors, prior to the Young Boys game, he started our last 2 games. He played against Crystal Palace and Arsenal, and to Delors' credit, he played very, very well. And I do think Jones and Bailly are leaving next year. And I think Dean Henderson will go out on loan. Dean Henderson's already confirmed that he wants to go out on loan. Well, obviously, revert back to last summer. De Gea reclaimed that number 1 spot back. So Henderson doesn't get in goal much. He was in goal for the game against Young Boys yesterday night. That was Henderson's second appearance this season. He made some good saves against Young Boys yesterday and also was proactive off his line. So anyway guys, there'll be more videos coming up soon. Drop your comments, likes below on the channel. If you do, consider subscribe as always and take care. God bless. See you all again very, very soon.